Hello everybody. You'll find that if you're growing vines or any plants for that matter, you're going to get used to spraying them because unfortunately vines are very susceptible to mildews and black rots and lots of other molds and diseases you really don't want. So get used to spraying and invest in some good equipment to do it with. So whether that's a good backpack sprayer or even a tractor driven sprayer, then you're going to be using it a lot. So that's the key advice there. So we've used lots of different types of things to try and keep mildew and black rot under control to varying degrees of success. We've used synthetic fungicides like this one, and we've also used potassium bicarbonate on a fairly regular basis, and we're also going to use lime sulfur, and I'm going to make some lime sulfur now. So I'm going to head back to the workshop and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make that. Okay, let's go and make some lime sulfur then. First of all, big shout out to Adam at Notion Bonsai. His video on making lime sulfur is really good, and it's basically the recipe I'm going to be following here. So I'll put the link in his for his website, or his YouTube channel rather, in the description below, but it's really good. So first of all, we're going to need some basic ingredients, and first off is sulfur, which is fairly obvious, also sometimes known as flowers of sulfur. And we also need some calcium oxide, and that is the 96% high reactivity fine calcium oxide. Just dissolves much better and just makes a better reaction. We also need a reaction vessel, which I'm using a 15-litre stainless steel cooking pot. A hot plate, just a single element hot plate underneath, which is a 1500 watt element. Okay, and we also need some weighing scales to weigh out some ingredients, a pot just to weigh things out in, a funnel to filter and fill the bottles later, some chemical bottles, I've got more of these if needed, to put the lime sulfur in, and they are 1 litre bottles. Got some paper towel just if we have any spillages. And finally, we do have some fairly obvious things really. Goggles, because I don't particularly want to get it in my eyes, and also some gloves, but I'm not going to labour that too much because you're all adults, you know exactly what you're doing. So that's what I'm going to be using anyway. So, safety goggles on. Right, let's get going. Now, the ratio I'm going to be mixing all this lot in is pretty set in stone, I think, and it's a very simple one to remember. It's 1 lot lime, 2 lots sulfur, and 10 lots water. So if you can scale that down, it's around about 250 grams of lime, 500 grams of sulfur, and 2.5 litres of water. And we're just going to mix it all in the pot. Going to do it in a slightly staged manner. And yeah, hopefully we're going to basically make calcium sulfide, which has got a lovely deep colour to it, or a pinkish colour, no, reddish colour, that's probably a better term for it. And hopefully a colour change will indicate that we've got the right chemical as an end result. So that's what we're going to get on to. So first off, I'm just going to be adding the water. It's going to be 2.5 litres of water. And then I'm going to be adding my 250 grams of calcium oxide. Now, it's a good idea to add this slowly because it can react to water, and if you dump the whole lot in all in one go, it's going to cause some kind of major nuclear reaction, and we're all going to be doomed. So add it slowly and stir it until it's all dissolved. Okay, I've measured out 250 grams of the calcium oxide. I'm just going to add this slowly, just a sort of dessert spoon, tablespoon, whatever, at a time, just gradually. And I've just turned the power off to the water now that it's nice and hot. Okay, so that's all the calcium oxide added to the water, and it did bubble away a little bit as I added it, but not too vigorously, so that's really good. Next step is to weigh out the sulfur, so I'm going to weigh out 500 grams of sulfur into my pot. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to add some of the calcium oxide, which is in the water here, to my sulfur. Sulfur doesn't react with the water, or doesn't dissolve in water very well, so we're just going to make a paste using the calcium oxide and the sulfur. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just going to add a little bit more. So I'm happy with this paste here. This is a nice sort of, I don't know, consistency like that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add this sulfur to the calcium oxide that we've got in the pot here. Okay, so that's all the sulfur added, and look, if we look in there, it's basically yellow, which is what we'd expect, and we're just going to give it a stir. I've put the heat back on it again, and we're just going to see if this turns from a yellow colour to a nice red colour, and if it does, then at least we know that the reaction's taken place. It's always a good idea to have a kettle of hot water standing by, because as the water evaporates off from the mixture, the water level is going to drop. So just keep topping it up with a bit of water so that you're left with roughly the same amount of water that you started with. Okay, we're 10 minutes in or so now, and already you can see that the colour is starting to go darker. It's certainly much darker than the initial yellow that we had, and if you just leave it for a moment or two, you can definitely see the redness coming through. So this is only 10 minutes, but we'll leave it for another half an hour or so, and we really should start to see a serious colour change. Okay, we're about 45 minutes in, and I'm going to call it quits on that, and that's basically the end result. It's a lovely, lovely red-orange colour, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm just going to take the heat off now and just going to let it cool down, and I'll probably come back in about an hour or so, and then we'll start bottling it. Okay, I've taken it off the boil and put it on the floor just to help it cool down a bit. Now, if I stir it a little bit, we're going to get some of the precipitate coming to the surface, and it's that sort of orange colour. Now, if I just leave it, that's going to sink to the bottom, and we should end up with this really nice, deep, you can see it all sort of swirling around. The lighter stuff's the solids or the precipitate, and I'm just going to leave that to sink to the bottom. And that should really be our lovely calcium sulfide or polysulfides. Okay, right. We have got it on the floor here, just cooling down, and it's gone that lovely, lovely red, dark brown, dark red. I don't know what colour you describe it as. But anyway, it's still steaming a little bit, but it's not that warm, to be honest. So I'm just going to see if I can decant some of it into some bottles and just let it cool down in the bottle. And there we go. We've got our first bottle of lime sulfur. I've probably got another 1.5 litres, 2 litres to go. This is fairly concentrated stuff, and you can probably dilute this down a further 10 to 1 or 20 to 1 even, and still be an effective fungicide. So tell me what you think. If you've used it already in your plants or vineyard, then tell me how effective it is. I'm going to try it on 1 or 2 rows just to see how it goes and whether it's effective at the end of the year. And I think it's basically a good preventative spray. So it kills the spores or prevents them germinating into mildews and black rots. It may not be any good if the disease has already been established, but lots of people use lime sulfur. It's been a fairly painless procedure in making it, so don't worry about having to boil things up and make it. Hopefully this video has shown you that it's not a difficult procedure. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Until the next one, I'll catch you later. Bye for now.